Hi y'all, and welcome back to our corner of the internet. It has been a while since I've posted a YouTube video. Years since I posted a YouTube video, but I wanted to share a couple things, and so I decided to film this day that I was making a few things in the kitchen and share a couple recipes and some food storage tips that I use in our home. So first off is my garlic tip. We are a garlic loving family. I buy these huge 3-pound bags of garlic at Costco, and if I don't use them, they go bad and they smell up my fridge. So today I show you how I turn these into little freezer pucks. They go into my freezer, they can be stored neatly and nicely without waste, and you can pull them out and throw them into a meal at any time. Basically, you blend it in a food processor until it comes to this consistency right here. You can blend it however you want, however chunky or liquid you want. Add some oil in there and it helps pulverize it down. And then I take a cookie scoop and basically just portion it out on a parchment paper on a baking rack tray, or not baking rack, but baking tray. And then I throw these puppies in my freezer. And it's so easy. This creates just like one stinky day in the kitchen with garlic, and the rest of the time you can just pull them out frozen and throw them into any of your meals. You don't have to use olive oil. You can use avocado oil or coconut oil, but I use olive oil because that's just what we use in our home. It makes about 2 trays. I stick them in my freezer in the house, or we have an outside freezer as well. Clearly, this freezer I have troubles with. It's so frustrating. I'm sorry, but I get frustrated with freezers on the bottom. I absolutely hate them. I'd rather just have one fridge and then one freezer, but whatever. Anyways, I wash all the dishes because my husband does not like the smell of garlic. He likes the taste, but not the smell. So I wash all of the dishes and make sure everything's all cleaned up, or else your home will probably smell. And then I store them in Ziploc gallon bags, and this creates about 2 bags worth of garlic. So you could buy a whole bunch of these and just have a day where you process garlic. It's so easy. You don't have to peel garlic. You just take a day and do this, and it just makes your life so much easier. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through making my absolute favorite granola recipe. So this is not a crumbly granola, it's more of a clustery granola. Oh, of course, the scoop falls out. This is just, I keep scoops in all my bags and this happens. Anybody else? So basically, I'm going to put in 3 cups of this sprouted gluten-free rolled oats. You can use any rolled oats you want. These are the ones that I use. 3 cups in a bowl. And this is like, have you ever had honey bunches of oats cereal? It is my favorite cereal, but the ingredients are so bad in it. So basically I make my own honey bunches of oats, but it's just bunches, and I love it. I adapted this recipe from the Hollar Homestead, and it's so good. Anyways, add in a cup of coconut. You can use shredded or powdered coconut. And then I'm gonna blend a cup of almonds, and you can use 2 cups of whatever type of nut you'd like. I used almonds and pecans in this recipe. I've made it with walnuts, but I love pecans. They're my favorite. So basically just put those in a food processor and blend them down to where they're, just crumbs, basically. And then you're going to pour them into the mixture with the oats and the coconut. So that's the consistency you want, and then just dump it in. Of course, the blade comes out. I constantly have these things in my kitchen happen. I'm not the most organized person in my kitchen, but I put out some good quality food, so I guess that makes up for it. Okay, so now I'm adding seeds. You can add any kind of seeds you like. I'm using sesame seeds and pumpkin seeds in this recipe, 1/4 of a cup of each. Just depends on what kind of seed. I can use chia seeds sometimes. You can use flax seeds as well, but they do have a pretty strong taste, so it just depends on if you like flax seeds. My family loves pumpkin seeds. There's so many benefits in them. I use these organic sprouted ones, and I love them. They're so good. Anyways, you're gonna grab some dates now. You can get these at Costco for a great price as well, the organic dates. Make sure to take the seeds out. Do not stick them in there with the seeds in. You don't want those date seeds in your granola. That would not be good. Maybe they do have nutrition, I don't know, but basically put about a cup of dates inside your food processor. The reason why I'm doing the voiceover today on this video is because my house was very loud. We had a guest over who was helping me and the children, and It's a loud house. There's 6 of us in a tiny home. So basically just blend that all up. I did notice that it blended into basically a ball of dates, which it wasn't supposed to do, but that's okay. So now you add in half of the mixture, the dry mixture, just add it back in. You're gonna blend it up with the dates. And this is where you get the clusters of deliciousness, because the dates are gonna mix in with the dry ingredients. Of course, there's that ball, I had to break that up, but the dates are gonna mix in with the dry ingredients and just create those chunks that you want if you like the clustery granola. Again, it fell out, my blade. Rinse your hands off, they're gonna be super sticky. All right, you're gonna give it a good mix, and now we are gonna make the wet ingredients in this recipe. And you are going to melt a half of a cup of coconut oil. I melted it on the stove. You're gonna do 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup. And then you're gonna add in honey. And I used about a half of a cup of honey. I use this raw honey, also from Costco. About a half a cup. I just kind of measure with my eyes, but if you need to get a measuring cup out, you can. And then pour in that warm melted coconut oil. And this part is so important. You have to mix this very, very well, or else you'll have the coconut oil needs to like emulsify basically with the honey and the maple syrup and the vanilla. I added vanilla as well. It needs to emulsify with it, because if you don't, you'll have just a whole bunch of coconut oil in certain areas and no sweetener. So make sure it's mixed really well. All right, so basically just pour it in and mix it around really well. It's optional too. You can add cinnamon to this if you'd like, nutmeg, any other little add-ins you can add, cranberries, whatever you like in your granola, but this is my recipe that we love. Basically, you're going to spread it out on a baking sheet, parchment, pretty sticky, but you're going to press it out as flat as you can against the parchment paper. You want to make sure there's nothing sticking up like on the edges. You want to make sure everything's really flat, because any area that's going to be sticking up has a chance of getting burnt in the oven, and there is nothing worse than burnt granola. Except for maybe burnt garlic. And then we're basically just gonna slip it in the oven, and it is gonna bake at 325 for 15 minutes. And then you take a look at it. If it needs a little bit longer, you could do another 10 minutes, just until it's ready. All right, hey, look at those garlic pucks in there. Now I'm cooking up 8 pounds of ground beef. This is a really big pot on the stove. I'm adding some salt, Italian seasoning, 3 of those garlic pucks, which I don't even know what that comes out to in amount of garlic, probably like 8 cloves, 10 cloves, and then some black pepper. And I'm making a huge thing of spaghetti sauce. There's my son trying to avoid the camera, crawling on the ground. Oh, it's so funny. I love my children. That's my oldest there, crawling on the ground, trying to get away from the camera. A little visit from my children, of course. They're all over the place, at my feet, around me, asking me questions, doing life together. Anyway, so basically I am making 8 pounds of ground beef. Like I said earlier, I added in some of those delicious garlic pucks from what I froze on a previous day. And I'm basically making spaghetti sauce. I'm making enough to do dinner tonight and then have 2-gallon Ziplocs for the freezer. I like to do this when I'm making any kind of sauce, or basically anything with ground meat. I like to batch prep it and always have a couple gallon Ziplocs to put in the freezer. I do this with taco meat as well, so then it makes it so easy on days when I'm like, what's for dinner? And I can just pull that out, thaw it out, and then have the accompaniments with it. Spaghetti sauce is one of those things you can do. You can make way more than this as well, but my pan pretty much holds 8 pounds of ground beef. So I add in an onion, which I should have sauteed earlier, but I didn't, so I just added it in, and it still tasted delicious. And then I have the Rouse pasta sauce, which I love. I think it's the marinara one. And then I add in a can of tomato sauce. And I'm just going to add some liquid to this, of course, to use all the goodness in there. And then I use a can of tomato sauce. And I think at the end I added probably more Italian seasoning. I'll use fresh Italian seasonings if I have them, but currently I don't. I just have dry. So just mix it real good. I'm probably spilling all over the stove. You aren't hearing the sizzle of the burn. I'm not the neatest chef, okay? I also have some frozen kale that I added in. I try to add kale or some sort of green into all my ground beef dishes because there's no flavor. So, and there we go. Those are going in the freezer. All right, the granola is out of the oven. It actually took 30 minutes to cook, so 2 15-minute sessions. I just break it up and I put it in mason jars because we eat it so fast that I don't need to store it in any other way. We just throw it in the mason jars and it is so good. A lot of people come and grab it while it's warm and eat it. So sometimes half of it's gone by the time I get it in my mason jars. But basically I just break it up and stick it in there. You can see how it is crumbly, but it's clustery and it is so, so good. Let me know down below if you end up trying this recipe. It is my absolute favorite. I love it. I keep it around. And like I said, you can use it with yogurt, or me personally, I just eat it as cereal. So I have some raw cow's milk that we drink and I just pour it in a bowl like cereal. And this is sometimes like one of those late night breastfeeding snacks that I have, or midday, just whenever. It's so good and so easy. As you can see, people are coming over. When it's warm, it's just so good. You can't stay away. It's just like an oatmeal cookie. It's delicious. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you make any of these recipes or if any of these time-saving hacks you use in your house. If you have any, share them with me down below. I just love to have this community on here to be able to share back and forth different things in the kitchen and in our households. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.